So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. The reason we're late is 100% my fault because I've been watching Spurs and Liverpool, which has just ended 1-1. And just wanted to do a small bit of a look, see what the story was, obviously, because we've got Liverpool next. But that's the last we're going to mention the Liverpool until probably tomorrow or maybe the day after when we do a preview. And we want to talk about what I felt was one of the most complete performances we had of the season so far against Burnley today. I know, Paddy, you had to listen to you had the pleasure, should I say, of listening to the dulcet tones of Mr. Mark Regan while you were watching what was an absolute belter of a rugby match as well. You know, it's been difficult to concentrate in the two. And you've seen the goals and so on. But you know, I suppose more than the goals and more than the the performance today. The win, I think, is something that I want to start off and I want to talk about first before we get into the nuts and bolts of the game. Because, Paddy, we've 7 points from the last 9, and it's not long ago that we've had a lot of people. Sorry, not we. I think the whole of Villa Twitter has had a lot of people saying, "Lads, we might pick up a point before the season ends, and we might go down, and you know this, that, and the other." And I just want to say, listen to Uncle Neil. I'm not 100% right, but I'm never wrong. That's all. That's what I'll say to you. I'm not 100% right, but I'm never wrong. And it looks like I'm going to be proven probably right with my my tally of somewhere between 7 and 11 points by the end of the season, considering we've got 7 points already from when we last spoke about it. But Burnley win today was fantastic. For me, it alleviates all fears of relegation. Like, I think even with a goal difference, it would have to be a 17-goal swing for us to go down at this stage. And I think that we can probably put the champagne or pop the champagne and take it off ice, I think, at the moment, because we're not going down and we're looking up. And to be honest with you, I think that we're going to finish top half because we're going to beat Crystal Palace as well before the season is out.
Well, I asked you the question earlier, Neil, has anyone ever gone down with 40 points? And you said West Ham did. Has anyone ever gone down with 43 points?
No, because I think West Ham went down with 42 points. I think someone put it into the comments earlier on. So, and that's always put up there as the barometer of safety. And you know, you have to like we are safe now. We were safe 2 weeks ago. We were safe after we got the draw against Leicester. For my money, I think we were safe. We were safe before we travelled over in the Norwich game. It would have had to have been an absolutely amazing sequence of results for us to go down, and that's not going to happen. And we're safe as houses, to be honest with you. And onwards and upwards, and let's look for the rest of the season. Paddy, I suppose really, where does this kind of where did this trepidation of relegation kind of come into it before we go on to the actual game itself? Because genuinely, it wasn't just false bravado. It was, for me, I thought the team was probably performing an awful lot better than other people did. In the sense that I never thought that the lull was going to continue. I knew that I thought we were always streaky. But do you think that it has affected, I suppose, really over the last maybe 6 to 7 weeks, has it affected the atmosphere at Villa Park? The fact that people probably there was an inkling that maybe we might have gone down.
Look, but the one underlying thing that doesn't get mentioned is, just remember, for the last 12 years, all our fans, or even our new breed of fans, or this new generation of fans, all they've known in Premier League football is austerity, is negativity, is worry, is sleepless nights. And look, I'm so happy we're not in the position we were in 2 years ago when we were to go and get a point off West Ham on the last day of the season to ultimately stay up. This season, I haven't been worried about it at all, albeit we weren't safe. But I genuinely think that is the reason that everybody is just that little bit apprehensive. and waiting until it's mathematically impossible for us to go down, which I think we can safely say it is now. It would take a monumental miracle for us to go down at this stage.
Paddy, funny that you should mention 2 years ago. At this very point of the season, with 34 games played, 2 years ago, we were 19th. We had 27 points. We had a goal difference of minus 29. Bournemouth had 28 points. Watford had 34 points at this point, and Watford had a game more played than us. And we stayed up. How the hell did we stay up from that position? We were 7 points off 17th with 4 games to play and a wild goal difference. How did we stay up on goal difference? Like genuinely, when I say that it would have taken an unbelievable circumstance for us to have gone down, that when I look back at it at this very point in the season was an unbelievable circumstance for us to stay up. Like, how the hell did we do that? Is it's ridiculous. And I know we're not talking about the game at hand here, but I think it's worth the kind of it's worth celebrating. It's worth kind of a victory lap to say that, lads, look, we're not going down. And for any of you that maybe thought we were going down, we don't have to talk about that. We don't have to listen to people talking about it. We don't have to listen. Like we have a very, very good radio station I listened to quite a lot. And they had a relegation conversation a week ago. And Villa, they must have spent about 5 to 6, maybe 5 to 7 minutes talking about Aston Villa going down. And I was like, lads, this is bonkers. This is bonkers. Like Villa aren't going down. So this is probably something more from me that I want to get off my chest, and I want to celebrate more than a lot of other people. But look, as I say, it's today is definitive. We were joking outside Villa Park last week, myself, yourself, and Noel Connaughton, and we were singing "We Are Staying Up," bouncing up and down as if we were last day of the season after robbing it in goal difference like in 2019. But we were taking the piss, like, But we can definitely say that we are staying up and looking up the league at this stage, and it's kind of mad to even say it with 43 points and a positive goal difference. Or sorry, not a positive goal difference. We're -2 goal difference at the moment. But in comparison, a positive goal difference in comparison to all the teams below us.
Yeah.
So that's a nice one. Anyway,
it is something to celebrate. It is something to be happy about. And here's something that hasn't happened on the podcast in a long time.
Yes.
There we go. Cheers. We're definitely staying up.
I'd say it could be the United away win, which is before Christmas. I'd say that could be the last time you open the can.
It probably is. I can't remember the last time.
You mightn't have opened the can since Steven Gerrard has been manager.
I was also very, very drunk after beating Brighton on the podcast, so I'd say that probably evens it out a bit.
Yeah. Probably does. And in fairness, a lot of the you've been to a lot of games as well, so we've done a lot of, and we haven't done that many immediate reaction pods either because some of the performances have been great. But it's great to hear the of a can, and I suppose the best I can do is I'm drinking a nice Scotch whiskey at the moment. So if you couldn't tell by my rant at the start, so I'm just going to put a little glug of whiskey into my glass before we continue on with this podcast. And as I say, we're going to raise a glass to a great performance from Aston Villa today. So the game itself, Paddy, I know that you've only seen fits and starts of it, and that's okay too. But we'll talk about the goals first, and I might go into a bit more detail about the overall performance because there was some really great things I really liked about this performance. I have a tweet ready to go because there still seems to be a small bit of trepidation as to whether we actually played 3 at the back, and I'll get onto that and I'll talk about it in a moment. But the goals themselves, Paddy, I suppose getting one so early in the game really settled us and really put the willies up Burnley, I think, and it suited us to kind of be front runners at that stage, even though Dwight McNeil had his feed for it. But before the game, I think we all kind of wanted, or well, I know I spoke about it with Dan Bardell in their preview show. An early goal is something that Aston Villa love, and we got one today, and it was something that we could kind of really hang our hat on. It was a Yeah, so I suppose really like the difference, I suppose, between a game when we don't score early and a game when we do score early, Paddy, is massive, isn't it?
Well, it is. Like, as you know, I listened to the game on the radio. It was the only way I listened to it. I sat there in a stadium nearly full of 40 odd thousand people with my earphones in. I must have looked very silly. 2 minutes into the game, and Villa are 1-0 up, and shortly after, my team scores a try, and everything is looking rosy in the garden. And I was totally relaxed watching and listening to both games for a while. It absolutely makes a huge difference to score early, and having watched back the highlights, what a ball it was from Emi Buendia. It just, if Coutinho did it, they'd be showing it over and over again on Match of the Day tonight. But look, Buendia just deserves to be in that position. He's an incredible footballer.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get out in front of, I suppose, the fact that we scored a goal so early with regards to that pass, but that pass was something special. It was like caramel, and there was a lot that went on in that. The fact that I think it was us that spoke about Buendia, and it was after the Norwich game. The fact that he does this whole thing whereby he runs about 3 steps, looks behind him to see what's coming, and then runs another 3 steps, and he almost does a stutter in when he drops back for the ball. And it's beautiful to see when it goes right, and this really went right because Douglas Luiz, who I thought was brilliant playing in a number 8 position today, he puts a ball in there. But I think he misjudged the kind of the stutter step that Buendia does, and he put a bit of heat in it. And it wasn't the best ball of all time. It was grand. It was fine. Buendia should have controlled it, but Buendia controlled it, took it around in his stride, and played an absolute. You know who used to play passes like that in his pomp was Cesc Fabregas. It was that slide rule weighted pass that Fabregas made an absolute living out of, and it was just delightful to see. Who better to get it than Danny Ings? And Danny Ings, I think, is the only player ever to score against all his former teams in the same season. I think he
Really?
just needed to score against Burnley today. Yeah, and that was it. Or sorry, four of his former teams, I think, in the one season. Some mad statistic like that, but he did it. I read it online today, and yeah, we had a goal within 7 minutes, and Danny Ings was celebrating, and I was delighted for Danny Ings because the
And in
statistic
fairness,
that is,
he didn't celebrate, in fairness to him, which is within his rights as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, and but I think the best thing for Danny Ings is he's finishing the season very well because there was a lot of question marks over him towards the end of 2021, as in the end of the calendar year. It started 2022, he got injured, and he's coming out of it now. And he's that statistic where he's had a goal contribution every 59 minutes in the last 7 games. So over the last 7 games, he had a goal contribution every 59 minutes. And I think it rounds out at something like, is it 3 assists and 4 goals or 4 assists and 3 goals? Can't remember which one it is. And, that's good. That's what we want to see. Once again, our 2 strikers scored again today. Our 2 strikers scored again today. And how many times can we say that? Namely because we don't usually play 2 strikers, but did against Norwich, did against Burnley. What did I say beforehand? We want to create partnerships. They're looking like a partnership now, and they're looking more comfortable playing with each other. You change that kind of the third leg of the stool essentially today. It was changed. Coutinho went out, Buendia came in. Yet the 2 guys were still able to play off each other. Ings dropped an awful lot deeper. Watkins ran the channels, but the second Watkins ran the channels, the 2 boys, Buendia and Ings, were bombing it. I mean, like there was times there whereby Buendia's legs were nearly 4 foot in front of him because they were going faster than his body to try and get into the box. And that's great to see that the guys are now beginning to understand, whether it be Coutinho or Buendia, they're beginning to understand what their role is within that attack. And they're all not standing on top of each other. And even if they are standing on top of each other, they're dispersing into the right positions as to where everybody understands they're going to be, which was great to see. But this goal was fantastic. I really liked it. And there was no stopping it. He got down the side of Nathan Collins, who I think is an absolute starlet in the making. I think he's going to be great. I thought he had a very good game today. Yeah, he's in a team that conceded 3 goals, but he was the better of the 3 centre halves that were played for Burnley today, between himself, Tarkowski, and another Irish guy, Kevin Long, who's had a lot of injury woes. And to be honest with you, it's great to see him playing Premier League football considering the amount of injuries he's had. But he was the best of the three, but Ings got down the side of him and slotted it away. And look, have to be absolutely delighted with the first goal to come so early and to give us that kind of impetus within the game. But we get on to the second goal, I suppose, Paddy, because the second goal comes at an opportune time as well. Burnley were beginning to get a small bit of a foothold in the game. Dwight McNeil was beginning to get down the side of us. I tweeted out slightly critical of Luca Dean, much and all as everybody knows I love him. I was slightly critical about his ability to get back, and I felt that he just wasn't getting back. Like he was staying forward and he wasn't getting back, but we didn't have. I thought Douglas Luiz was charged with that side of the field, and we were just leaving it a small bit open for Dwight McNeil to get down there. And he got down a couple of times, and they couldn't get the ball across, or when they did get across, we snuffed it out. Konza was nearly caught at one stage. I think Aaron Lennon got a ball on the other side, got it in towards Ashley Barnes, but and Konza was caught because the ball was coming from one side, and he was crossing over where Mings was. So Aaron Lennon played a ball across, I think, Dwight McNeil. Mings was there, and Konza was coming to kind of meet Mings, and there was actually an opportunity or a potential that the two of them could have clashed into each other, and Konza had to actually stop in a sixpence and try and move backwards when Barnes got the ball. But I thought he did a good job of marshalling him and putting the ball over the bar. But Burnley were getting a foothold in the game at that stage. They were getting a foothold massively down our left side because Dina was attacking like mad, which he's obviously been told to do. No sooner had I the tweet out that Dina attacks down the left-hand side and lays an assist on for Emi Buendia, and everything is right in the world again. And I know it was a deflected shot, but I think there's nobody on the field that deserved a goal more than Emi Buendia for everything he's gone through since January. Coutinho's come in. He was player of the month, I think, in the Premier League in January. And then when Coutinho comes in, he doesn't see a sniff of a game really between now and then. And he's kept his mouth shut. He's put his head down. He's worked. He's stayed in the Argentina squad. And there's been nothing but positive things that have come from Steven Gerrard about him as well. And I was delighted for that. But Paddy, I suppose just talking about those two goals in a vacuum, for those two players being two of the people that we brought in to replace Jack Grealish, how important is it for players like that to be scoring goals even at this late stage of the season?
Don't think it's overly important for the likes of Buendia to get a goal. Obviously, it's great. But I would imagine Buendia is the kind of player that would equally enjoy the ball that he played through for Danny Ings for the first one. But it's very important for your strikers to be scoring goals, absolutely. And we'll get to the Watkins one in a minute. But I was delighted for I've been banging the drum about Danny Ings. I think he's the best finisher we have. Well, we've yet to see if Cameron Archer can step up to that plate, and I've no doubt that he might further down the line, and he might benefit from being there and learning to get with the likes of Danny Ings. So, I would like to see us hold on to Danny Ings. I think, if we got to the situation where we had another striker, maybe a bigger striker that he could play off and work off and get tight to and get a knockdown and all that kind of thing that we know he's good at. I don't know who that striker is or whether that will even happen, but that's what I think it's an area that we just one more body in there might make a huge difference. But yes, I want to see Danny Ings scoring goals. Great to see Ollie Watkins get over the 10 for the season. We probably would have expected more from the two of them, but look, it is what it is. The season was written off fairly early that we weren't going to do anything magic, although we had a few false dawns with the run we went on around January time, was it, when we thought we were going to get into European football. So it's petered out. We gave out about the players being on the beach, and there we go. We got 7 points out of 9, as you said. Not the group, but I haven't seen today, obviously, as you know. I'm looking forward to looking at it after 12 o'clock tonight on Villa TV. But it's definitely
or the advertising for Villa TV. What is it? $1.99 a month. Villa TV subliminal messaging.
Well, it's a great service.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, right. and to be like, it's very hard to see every game every week. I've missed 2 games this year. One of them I was in the air, and missed the Newcastle game, and I never watched that one back, and I never will watch it back. But I will watch this one back, and I watched the Norwich one back after being sometimes when you're at the match you miss an awful lot, especially where I sit behind the goal. So it's good to watch it back and pick up the bits that you missed. So I find it a very valuable tool, and also I'll be tuning in to watch the ladies play Birmingham City. Unfortunately, they're already relegated, but we'll chat about that later on.
Yeah, just on that as well, guys. It's a couple of people have reached out and just mentioned about that as well. You know that the game is there to be watched, and Carla Ward and the Villa women's team have put an awful lot of effort into this, and the Villa want to grow the women's side of the operation as much as they want to grow the academy, and they want to grow the senior men's team as well. So I suppose any support that can be given would be absolutely fantastic, even if it's just watching it, get the numbers up, because there's a great amount of effort that's gone in there. We've seen Aston Villa women's team almost be catapulted into a stratosphere with some of the players that they've signed. Number one. And number two, and like, when was the last time an Aston Villa women's soccer player was on soccer, or women's footballer was on Soccer AM? Little things like that. It's great for the club. It's great for the club to have both teams. I suppose getting noticed and getting good PR both on and off the field. And long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Yeah. And in fairness, it's a reasonable day out. They've a lot going on around Villa Park tomorrow. It's only £1 in for a child. It looks like it's going to have the makings of a great day out. I'm making a promise that I get to one next year, because I've watched a lot of the games this year and I've really enjoyed them. So some weekend next year I'll get over when they're playing and the men are playing on the same weekend, that I can get out and watch it.
And you said the Birmingham City are already relegated, Paddy, but should that not make you want to beat them more?
Well, I think you want to beat them anyway. Unfortunately, they lost. They got hammered 6-0 by Man City on Tuesday night or so, whatever it was. So that's them gone. But look, they want to put on a show now. They went through a rough time over the last 5 or 6 weeks, and then did get a draw against Man United. So there's good signs there, but it's something I'm looking forward to, and it'll be a good way to see out the season, I think.
Yeah. So so don't neglect that. That's on tomorrow. 8 to May.
It is 12 o'clock.
Check it out. It's 12 o'clock. Yeah. So
another valuable tool. So we may as well promote everybody. The FA Player app shows all these games live. I don't know whether if it's just for overseas, but definitely check it out, because I get all the notifications when they're playing, and we sit down and watch them. Nice and handy when you have to put up with a Sky Sports pundits talking about Man United, Man City, Liverpool all the time, that you can go and watch something positive about Aston Villa.
And for people who aren't overseas, you never know. We might have a sponsor soon for VPN. Who knows? And you might be able to avail us into there as well. Sorry, what did I say that out loud? Oh my God, no. That was someone robbed my microphone. Anyway. So let's not neglect the women as well. With regards to that, I know Dan Bardella is going covering that for the Athletic tomorrow, so that should be. It's great to see it being. I suppose see it being signal boosted on such a big platform like the Athletic as well. But just to get back to the Burnley game today, and you mentioned something about Ings there as well, and that I hope we keep Ings. I don't think it's even up for conversation. I think Ings and Watkins are definitely here next season. I think they've got Cameron Archer. I think Cameron Archer, we might see him loaned out again. Who knows? He signed a longer contract, so we're not under the gun to see what he does at Premier League level. And, he could be loaned out again. It wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility to see him back at Preston and maybe get a full season there. But I think that we might bring in an older striker. I don't want to say the name Luis Suarez there, because I don't want to trigger anybody, but I can't see him not being here next season. I don't know what it is. I just have it in the back of my mind that it just, whether people like it or whether they don't, I think that there might be someone in there, and I think we might see a bigger striker, as you said, Paddy. PSK has mentioned here a guy by the name from Sassuolo, called Skamaka as well, and that's somewhere I saw him linked as well previously, and he's a nice player. He's a young player. I'm not 100% sure he's mobile enough for the Premier League, but he gets goals. He's really well thought of. He's been called the next Christian Vieri in Italy. Remember, Doug tried to sign Christian Vieri all those years ago and Juninho in the same off season. Yeah, that was when I think that was when there was maybe a whiff of ganja around Villa Park for a good period of time, because I don't know, could we have ever signed either of the two of those? But I think somebody just mentioned it somewhere along the line. But wouldn't it have been fantastic? But that's all for another day, another podcast, when we do go and look after the season, I suppose, and we appraise the team that we have. But I do think that we will see more incomings. Whether Archer gets next year, to come back to Aston Villa, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'm saying that the option is there now that we've signed him to a longer term contract, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 3 or 4 years. So the option for him to go out and learn and to hone his craft at championship level is still there. We haven't even talked about the third goal yet, Paddy, and for me the third goal was the best goal. For me, the third goal I thought was an absolute brilliant move.
The one standout for me about this goal is look at the position John McGinn gets into to deliver that ball. And I have a feeling that if you look closely enough, his hand is in the air celebrating the minute that ball is going in towards its destination. It's not even before.
I tweeted about it. He crosses the ball and he runs to the end line with his hand in the air like this. He knew it was a goal the second he crossed it. Yeah. It was a beaut, absolutely. But the ball from Dino was an absolute beaut as well. It was really well worked.
Absolutely. But I'm delighted for John McGinn. I'd love to see him finish the season on a high, because he's not going anywhere. Everybody loves John. He's the heart and soul of the dressing room from what everybody can see. You may have seen him commentating on Philippe Coutinho's keeping the tennis ball in the air during the week. He's just a good guy. He's good fun, but most of all, we know he has oodles and oodles of talent. He's not just a fat arse to hold people off. He's an incredible footballer, and I hope he's around for a long time. So it was lovely to see him getting forward into that position and getting the ball into the box.
Yeah, and it was a superb cross. One thing about John McGinn as well. John McGinn has unbelievable technical ability in a lot of ways. A lot of the time when we think of John McGinn, we think of him with his gaudy running style. We think of him with his arson players out of the way. That kind of almost schoolyard football sense that we have. But if you think of John McGinn, and you think when the ball drops to him at the edge of the area and he has a shot, he had one of these. A ball came across him, and I'd say he was further up the field than he had been in the last 5 games, to be honest with you, when he picked up the ball. In the first half, it was. And he must have been about 35 yards out. And he took a shot. Now, the keeper saved it handily. But it was a beautiful shot in a lot of ways. It had a lot of power. It had, he didn't balloon it over. He got his head over it, and he got a good shot away. John McGinn's technique is really, really good when he's given space and when he's allowed play. And that's why I think when he plays with Scotland in the number 10 position, the people see a lot more of a different and a more dynamic John McGinn. John McGinn is like the Swiss Army knife within the team. You can put him anywhere and he'll be able to, take off his leg and he'll screw on his golf club leg when he's playing back maybe towards the 6th position, or he'll do different things if you want him to. But I think John McGinn does fancy himself further up the field. And I think you can see he really enjoys goal contributions like he had today. Yeah. Because when he takes a shot, he gets a lot of those shots on target. And you know what? Like, he likes to have a bang from way out the field. And if you look at him, he strikes him sweet more often than not. But this cross was great because Dina switches the player right the way over to him. And the second he gets the ball, he knows where he wants to go. He knows the patch of grass he wants to cross it in from. And he crosses it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Paddy. John McGinn, has he had many assists this season?
That's what I was thinking when I saw it. I don't think he's had too many. I think I remember one from a corner he took. I think did he take the corner that Courtney House headed in? Don't know why I have that in my head.
We were rotating our own corner kick takers there for a while.
Yeah, it literally could have been anybody. Yeah.
I think well, no, what I was getting at here is that he AVFC Stato sent me Paddy Phil there for a while. He sent me a tweet on it, and I know I'll be able to tell you exactly when his last one was, because that's what I was getting at. That he hasn't had a goal contribution, whether it be an assist or whatever, in a long time. I think it's something like December or something along those lines, but I'll get you that now in a moment. But what I'm trying to get at, yeah, McGinn's first goal contribution since Leicester at home, December, 16 games without one, was last time. So I mentioned on Twitter, I goes, look, watch McGinn. He's celebrating after he crossed the ball in. He knew exactly he knew it was going to be a goal because Watkins had beat his man, and it meant that much to him. And the reason I was saying it was that he hasn't been really allowed off the leash. And what allowed him off the leash today, Paddy, do you think?
What allowed him off the leash was Callum Chambers.
I'm setting you up for this one. Exactly.
I haven't seen it, but I listened to Ian Taylor talking about it, and look, it's quite obvious that Chambers he grew into the game as it went along. As Ian Taylor said, he looked like he was a duck out of water at the start, but grew into the game and looked very much in control. So delighted for my buddy Callum Chambers, goal of the season nominee, and all round good guy and good player. But he definitely allowed Douglas Luiz and John McGinn have a better game by the sounds of things.
Yeah, and I think he did. And that's who I want to talk about next now that we've got through. Actually, great finish by Watkins. Like, that's a diving header at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
I
don't see too many of them anymore. I love
it. No. I think what really got me to love a diving header was, it must have been in the year where Kevin Phillips and Niall Quinn were playing for Sunderland. And Kevin Ball was the centre half for Sunderland that year, if I'm not mistaken. And he had an absolutely unbelievable diving header at the back post. It might have been against Newcastle. I don't know what team it was, but it was a wet day, and it was Sky Sports were covering it, and you could barely see the screen, and it was grainy coverage. And he had this unbelievable diving header at the back post. I'm sure it's on YouTube, but that made me fall in love with diving headers ever since. So I'll always love to see, and I'll always give a fella a diving header, even if he just jumps off the ground a small bit and goes forward. You know, I'm a little bit older
than you. I'm a little bit older than you, but Keith Houchin's header in the FA Cup final for
made up name
for Coventry.
Never heard of him. Made up name.
You were born probably, but I used to throw myself around the back garden pretending to be Keith Houchin, hitting the ball off the wall and diving header it into the corner. Can't beat a diving header.
Yeah. And Paddy had tarmac in his back garden as well. So, like, you could imagine he would have broken collarbones. He had that somewhere.
Hardy Booker was.
But I wanted to get on to Callum Chambers, and I want to get onto the setup of the team, Paddy, because now we've gone through the goals. I think really the money is going to be made here with Steven Gerrard. We've talked about coaching, we've talked about identity. Is it a positive or a negative that he's been very experimental? I'm going to go back through the last 10 games that he's played, and I'm going to catalog them for an actual podcast, because Steven Gerrard has decided Klinsmann loved a good diving header, didn't he? Well, Klinsmann loved a good diving celebration regardless. Now Klinsmann's nose looked like he had a couple of diving headers in his time as well, for a period there. It was half it was pointing east, half it was pointing west, if I remember rightly. But every young fella did themselves an injury trying to do a Klinsmann, especially in the summer months when football was played here in Ireland. But getting back to, I suppose, the way that Gerrard set the team up today, I should have taken 2 screenshots of it today to show it to you guys, because if any of you saw my Steven Gerrard piece, and I was talking about Marvelous Nakamba was in this position, and when he got injured, we had no one in that position, and Douglas Luiz went a bit further forward. And I went back and I looked at it after this, and I tried to think about why that might have happened, because Callum Chambers was parked in front of the back two. I call him the back two because our fullbacks just bomb forward. So Callum Chambers was parked back there. A couple of people have said, and I've seen it written on Twitter, and I haven't listened to any of the rest of the Villa podcasts or whatever, so I'm not sure if they mentioned it yet. But a couple of people who said we played 3 back today, and we actually didn't, because Chambers is like an octopus there. I've never seen a man to get his arms all over people. He was the grabbiest player on the field today. He actually grabbed people more than goalkeepers grab balls out of the sky today. He was. I don't know how he didn't get a couple of yellow cards, to be honest with you, because he was really grabby. But I think we needed that. I think we needed a bit of nastiness to allow us to go forward. And I wonder if that bit of experimentation that Stephen Gerrard had is like, he must know that Douglas Luiz has played his best forward in the 8th position, or has played his best football in the 8th position this year. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does against Liverpool now. If he leaves Chambers in there, if he brings JJ, won't be there anyway. I wouldn't imagine he's going to make that quick turnaround if he was injured for today. Ray, yeah, I'm this what I'm gearing up to. I think he probably has to start there and drop in as a back three if needs be. I think you probably seen a Kamba in there as well somewhere along the line.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think we go there to try and get a 0-0 draw. And look, if we lose 1-0 like we did earlier, like when we played them earlier on in the season, we lost 1-0 to a penalty where Mings had I don't even think it was a penalty. I think it was just it was a clumsy collision between two players where the forward got the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, well, it was the old Liverpool way of planting your foot in front of a fella that's running and hit the deck and get a penalty.
Well, I think it's more the old Mo Salah way than the Liverpool way, to be honest with you, because I couldn't imagine. Actually, I could imagine Michael Owen doing it. I could imagine.
Well, of the current crop, Mane does it.
I couldn't imagine TT Kamara doing it. Okay, no. Right? Give Liverpool their due. Lest we forget TT Kamara, the wonderful Ghanaian striker. But I think we can go to Liverpool with a small bit of zest. Now, look, put it this way: they're scorned after today. 1-1 draw. They would have expected to go there and win. They should have won. They're coming, but I will say, abject enough in a lot of the game against Villarreal, a team that has become essentially a retirement home for Premier League footballers. A fantastic. Don't get me wrong, that's not negative. Unai Emery is like, how Arsenal binned him is beyond me, because look at the success that man brings. But they were playing with a midfield of Coquelin, Etienne Capoue, and they had a 36-year-old Raul Albiol at the back who had afterburners for feet against Liverpool for the 2 legs. Liverpool are showing a bit of chinks. I don't expect us to win, don't get me wrong, but I still think we can go there and maybe make it difficult for them.
What you have to remember, Neil, is I think, is it 63 games they will have played by the end of the season? They will have played in every possible game that you can play. They've got to the Champions League final, they got to the FA Cup final, they got to the Carabao Cup final. There is no other game that they could have played, no extra game that they could have played. They played the Charity Shield as well, didn't they? So they've had so much going on. So it is bound to catch up on them. I was hoping it would be Tuesday and not today, but Tuesday is not going to be easy, because, as you say, they'll be like a scoring cat now, and they'll go all out for us. So I do see a situation, and look, we'll get onto that again when we do a little preview. But I do see a situation where we might see two defensive midfielders.
Like Coutinho was dropped. Like Buendia made hay while the sun shined today, and I think maybe it's going to be harsh on him, because I don't think he's going to keep his place on Tuesday, because I think Coutinho. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I was nearly right. There was one game that they missed.
Jeepers, Paddy, we're supposed to know our stuff here. My goodness. Run up by me in the production meeting.
That's what happens when you listen to. I was up north all week listening to Talk Sports, so you pick up these nuggets and think they're correct.
But in fairness to Liverpool, like, Liverpool are the best team in Europe, best team in the world at the moment. They really are. I know they drew 1-1 today, but like, Liverpool rarely have 2 bad games in a row this season. Last season they did. Start of the season we caught them. There was questions being asked. Then Van Dijk got injured, and then the things that they did last season with Nat Phillips and Kabayak and I can't even remember who was that guy they signed from Preston that never got a game. Never really got a game, you know. But the things they did with that backline last season was nothing short of fantastic, you know. So like Jurgen Klopp, I know some people don't like him. I just think for me he's legend. I think he's brilliant. But anyway, that's not what this podcast is about. But Liverpool will be a scoring cat, is what I say. But if I'm playing, I go there heavily fortified and try maybe and catch them, because the reason I'm saying this is you're going to have Coutinho in there for Bundia. I think I'm 99% certain. I don't think you could resist the temptation not to play Coutinho against Liverpool just because of the game that's there. Call it stupid, call it populist picking or whatever, call it naivety, call it pandering to the sky, whatever you want to call it. But I think Coutinho definitely starts. This is the first game he's been dropped for. So to me, I don't think he was dropped, obviously, number one. I think it was minute management kind of thing. And Bundia played fantastic. Should we drop Bundia? Gerrard has shown a propensity to drop players that have played well. He did it with Tim today, which worked out. And I don't think Tim would have been the right man to play in the game today. I think Chambers got his hands on people. I think he was nasty. I think he was dirt. I'll go so far as to say it. I think he was cynical today. And we talked about the likes of Jack Cork. Sometimes you need just a good professional in there in midfield. And I think Chambers was our good professional in there in midfield. And I think that he keeps his place. But I think what we'll do is we'll fortify. I think we might see. To be honest with you, I probably think we'll see the same midfield three, but I think we'll see earlier substitutions, and I think we'll see Coutinho behind the two boys up front. And the reason I think that is because I think we're going to go a bit longer, because Ollie and Danny Ings are in form. Whether we want to believe it or not, like 2 goals in 2 games for both strikers is an achievement for the Aston Villa Football Club at this moment in time. For strikers at this club, that's a massive achievement. No, and I would go so far as to say, Paddy, bar the top teams, there's probably very few clubs. Where's AVFC Stato when you need him, or where's Villa Analytics when you need him watching the pod? But there's very few clubs that would have both their strikers score in games back to back outside of the top 6. I would go so far. I'd say even outside of Man City and Liverpool, to be honest with you.
If Man City played with a striker. Either way, they should be applauded for it, because number one, we're scoring goals, and number two, we're after getting back-to-back wins. And I suppose the only blot on the horizon is the fact that we conceded, and it annoyed the shit out of me to hear the goal going in. But look, I'm sure I'm not as annoyed as Emi Martinez, because 3 in a row clean sheets would have been brilliant. But I said it in our team sheet tantrum, Cornet, you just don't know what's going to turn up. He took his goal well, he went around him, he blasted it into the roof of the net. Good finish, fair play to him. But I would imagine Gerrard was not happy with conceding that goal late on.
No. Well, like, is that not just manager speak? Do managers really care whether they win? If a manager won 10-9, do you think he really gives a shit? Like, genuinely speaking, I think a lot of that might be manager speak. But I think you're right, Emi Martinez, because Konza sold that backline up the Swanee. And I didn't think he had a fantastic game today. I think it weighed in his mind that he's been dropped for the last game. I think it did today, because I suppose that's probably unfair of me, because they're tricky customers, those 2 big brutes that they had up front. Ashley Barnes is a savvy footballer, you know. I'm not going to say he's fantastic. I'm not going to say he should ever have been in an England squad or anything like that. He's a savvy footballer. He uses his weight. Like, he's a different prospect. You know, he's not someone that you can actually really, specifically with this football club that we have at the moment, there's nobody, unless they play Tyrone Mings centre forward to mark Konza. There's no way that the Konza could have actually got, up towards that physicality in the days leading up to the game. So you really are not primed to get into that game. And there's no kind of, in the NFL they call it scout team. You sign this guy that's just off the street. Like he has the same measurables and can essentially stand in the same spot as a guy that you're going to be playing against that day, the next week. And it gets you used to trying to get around a guy who's 6'4", maybe 13 or 14, 15 stone or whatever the story is. It gets you used to just getting, that fella. Okay, you back into him, you cock your arse against him for the next half an hour and let our lad get used to getting in around that. There's no one on our team who can do that. We don't have like for like within our team for someone like Ashley Barnes. So I can understand that. But we do for Maxwell Carnet. We do have somebody. We've a lot of people who could have done what Maxwell Carnet did. All he did was he stood out on the sideline, trying not to get involved in the ball. The ball comes over the top. Konza gets committed. And Cornet just sells him down to Swanee and just runs in. And it was the easiest goal that we're going to concede all season. I was annoyed more so with the fact that and I'm being a bit Mings is calling the line. Sorry, before I go on to it, Mings is calling the line. So I saw a couple of people on Twitter were saying that that Mings was at fault there because Mings played him on side. No, Mings calls the line. Konza shot out. Konza shot out of the line. He shot to the right. So Konza should be talking to people. Konza should let Maxwell Cornet get that ball or let that ball go over. It's reminiscent, I suppose, of the Spurs game whereby Konza followed and was naive in a way to follow Harry Kane around the field, and he got caught out of position. He followed Maxwell Cornet too much. Cornet, too far towards the line, and we got caught over the top. And it was a small bit of naivety. Look, it's fixable. It's very fixable. To be honest with you, it's really fixable. But it was just it was an in the moment individual error, I think, is what I would put it down to. And I'm not berating him. I'm not saying he should be dropped or anything. He did a lot of good things in the game. I mentioned the one about Ashley Barnes, whereby he was completely his feet were all over the place. He sorted him out and he got him off balance to put the ball over the bar. I think he had an okay game. Yeah, but I do think I think he needs to be a player who's loved. And to be honest with you, Paddy, and I know I'm getting very long on my soliloquy here, but I think he needed to be. I think the same. We're seeing an Ezri Konza that we saw in 2019. Remember when Dean Smith played him at right back? He was shaky enough, and then he was moved in centre half. He was shaky enough, and he was moved back out right back again. He was shaky enough in those games that we were losing before the run we went on to keep us up. Yeah. I think Konza is very much an arm around the shoulder type guy. And when you have that arm around the shoulder, I think he can be an immense, because let's be honest, guys, he was immense last season. He was really good. There's a real good player in there. This season probably hasn't been his best foot forward.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going all in on him. I just we all make mistakes. It's we talked about him slipping over a couple of weeks ago as well. I just think Chambers has an awful lot to offer. I haven't seen the game today, but I will watch it before we talk about the next one, just to see how we shaped up and get my own take on what happened today. But Konza has been great for us. He absolutely has been great for us. Everyone's allowed a wobble. Unfortunately, if he wobbles, the ball goes in the back of the net. So
yeah, that's 100% right, Paddy. Actually, I want to stop in mid-flow there about that, because he's our libero, essentially. He's the guy who's guts and glory. He has to be, because Mings calls a shot. So if he shoots out and makes a decision in the moment, it's either the right one or the wrong one. There's no middle ground, because of the way we play our fullbacks. So we talk about maybe the mistakes that Mings has made and the mistakes Konza has made as the season has gone on. If Konza makes a mistake, it's fatal. Exactly. And we have to take that into account as well when we're appraising his style of play and the way he's played this season, because I think Gerrard has left him open. I think Gerrard has left both of them very open this season because of the central defensive midfielder position. And I think when we're 3-0 up, I think Chambers maybe got a small bit maybe a bit high in his own supply there, and he was walking up and down the field a small bit, but he deserved it. And I thought Chambers played well, but we got caught with a sucker punch in the 92nd minute or whatever. So I'm not losing too much sleep over it, although I would have liked to upped Emi Martinez's clean sheet record or a clean sheet
Absolutely.
pattern that he's got going at the moment.
Neil, will we let everybody go and watch match of the day? What do you reckon?
Yeah, why not? Before you do, guys, can everybody comment in who you thought was man of the match? Because I have a man of the match that doesn't tally up with any of the sites that are there. So
And
if you want to comment on the pod.
While you're commenting in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe while
Yes.
you're in there.
Absolutely. That would be absolutely wonderful as well. And if you haven't subscribed to our audio podcast, I'd really love if you could do that because, look, I'm going to be really honest. We want to be on YouTube as much as we possibly can, but my work schedule and things like that, I may need to do some audio podcasts just because they're quicker, they're easier to do. We don't have to schedule them for a certain period of time and pop them up in the audio podcast, specifically around the press conference pickups that we will have. Those going forward, and maybe one or two of the transfer things that I'll be doing will have to go out in audio, and depending on how many we do. I just really appreciate if you could do it there because I just love talking to you guys, and I love the interaction that we get from it afterwards. We will always try our best to put everything up on YouTube, but I don't want you to miss out on anything. From time to time. Philly D. Mortimer, man of the match. You called it beforehand. In fairness, you were the only one who said he would start. He had an absolute fantastic game. So, Philly D, the drinks are on you. The drinks are on you for sure. Ray O'Connor, you did ask what was the scotch. This is a particular penchant of mine, and I think it's been on a podcast before. If they're out there, the Cummings distillery of Cardew in Scotland. Cardew, single malt, Scotch whiskey.
I'm spending too much time in the west of Ireland, Neil.
Yeah, I'm getting back to my West Limerick roots there with that one, wasn't I? Yeah, but a lovely drop, and inexpensive as well. Inexpensive. I think it's about €40. Not too bad. Now, I said I'd take a change from the Writer's Tears, which is the best Irish whiskey you can ever buy is Writer's Tears. And there's a whole podcast coming on that one if you guys want it. And we'll have it after the season if you want. But only if you sign up. Oh, sorry, not sign up, but only if you subscribe on YouTube. So let's see. Actually, before we go on there, just a couple of kind words there for Tyrone Mings. John Ridgway says Mings thought he was faultless again. Has been for a couple of months now. Absolutely, I think he had a great game. And Philly D says I feel Mings should be getting a lot more love. Best English centre back in the entire league right now. I mightn't go that far, but I do think he's been a lot more sturdy for even when we were on our losing streaks. I think he's been, the epitome of sturdiness probably for the last 8-9 weeks now. I think he's been. He's been a real steadying influence. So far we have Narida says it's got to be Dina. On Bradley says MEB. Ray says Buendia man of the match. Michael Child says Gary Shaw. I saw an actual gas tweet that Matt Kendrick had about Gary Shaw, and I looked at that old Muller jersey with the stripes, and then the nylon blue shorts. What a combination. I think the club should just go back to that every year. I just love it. For me, it's nostalgia. Tom Ryan says MEB. Thomas says Dina for me. Ray's complimenting my whiskey drop. Thank you very much. Anne says great win. Tuesday a big one. Black Sheep and family. Yeah, and all Anne's family support Liverpool, so it's a big one for her during the week against Liverpool. I'd say, and maybe watch it on your own at home. If I was a betting man, I'm not quite sure we might get the result, but I will be optimistic in the pre-match one for sure because I'm usually Mr. Optimistic anyway, so that's all good. But we'll get over tomorrow and against Tipperary in the hurling first because Limerick are going to beat Tip in the hurling for anyone that's watching this from Ireland, and we're going to put hurling out of our minds for decades to come, hopefully tomorrow with the bait, and we're going to give them. Anyway, that's beside the point. Michael Giles says Buendia was man of the match. Paddy, who did you think was man of the match?
Well, I didn't see the match.
Paddy, if you had seen, damn, I should have remembered that before I said it. Paddy, if you had seen the man of the match,
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay, so well then you're useless. For me, I thought John McGinn was man of the match. I thought John McGinn was fantastic. I thought he did everything right. I can't remember a mistake he made. And genuinely, he must get, like, it's an intangible thing, but the amount of extra points he must get in the man of the match stakes for that absolutely cheeky and brilliant celebration. The second it leaves his left foot, he's like Alan Shearer after scoring an FA Cup final. He's into the middle of the crowd nearly as the second it leaves his left foot. It's hilarious. Watch it back tonight. It's so good. I caught it. I was watching a fantastic Zimbabwean stream. Legally, of course. I was watching a fantastic stream today, and I caught it on the on the replay, and I actually started I burst out laughing as loud as I possibly could, because you could just see him. He's like this. He's gone nuts into the crowd as he crosses the ball. He knows it's a goal, so it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So for the love of Paul McGrath, official man of the match is John McGinn, because I think he was just really, really good today. Really good today. Right. So for a 20-minute podcast, Paddy, we did great. We did 55 minutes as normal.
Yeah.
And we drank a bit. And I had a couple of onion rings here as well, which was fantastic. But we will be back quicker than you think, because we're going to have the presser pickups are going to come tomorrow. I'm probably going to end up, Paddy, we're going to go through our production meetings again here. I'm probably going to end up doing those on my own at some stage. I can't remember what time Stephen Gerrard said his press conference was tomorrow, but it is tomorrow. I think it's somewhere like around 2:00 tomorrow or something like that. So we will come with press conference pickups. Maybe tomorrow night around this time, maybe 9:30, maybe 10:00, we will do a preview of the game again for Liverpool. And we will be back to you with that. And we will do, immediate reaction on Tuesday after the team sheet tantrum. Actually, no, we won't. I'm going to be away on holidays. I can't be committing to anything on Tuesday. I'm away for the week next week. So Tuesday could be complete another black zone, as in dead zone. We will have nothing on Tuesday. So I can't be committing to that. But I will commit to a pre-match, and I will commit to a presser pickup. And if I can sneak away for 20 minutes on the phone to do a team sheet tantrum and a post-match reaction, we will do that as well. So that's the upcoming pieces for the rest of the week. And I'm sorry that you all had to listen to my internal struggle there, but right, that's enough. Great win though. Great win today, and hopefully there's a couple of more before the end of the season. I think the narrative of us being on the beach is well and truly gone, and we will hopefully put up a good show against Liverpool during the week. But we're going to enjoy this win tonight, and we're going to enjoy safety, I suppose, because we're more or less mathematically safe now after today's win. So everybody get to bed or get to watch match of the day. We're not going to be first, so I don't really mind keeping you in the last 5 minutes or so. We're not going to be first on match of the day. You will still get to see us, but check in during the course of the rest of the week. Please give us a like in this, and please, if you and I mean it, please follow the audio podcast, because over the next couple of weeks we may not get to do as many of these YouTube shows as we like, and I just love if we could still get out to you guys. For those of you that do listen to the podcast regularly, we might have a couple of them on the audio thing. So thanks so much for all your support. Great win for Aston Villa today. Hopefully there'll be more wins coming up, and I'm going to finish up because I'm struggling to finish up here, and I'm just going to say up the Villa.
Up the Villa.